When it comes to running a SaaS business, there are so many crazy metrics that you need to track and actually measure for and actually optimize for. It can be a little dizzying, it can be a little overwhelming. I've been there. There's this one metric that I found was the most important metric, at least for me. When I thought about taking a long view on building my SaaS business, on creating true value, on really growing it the right way, there's this one metric that ended up mattering no matter what for every SaaS business that I've been part of and every SaaS business that I now advise. And that is your customer lifetime value. The higher your customer lifetime value, the more you can actually spend on sales and marketing, the more of a healthy business that you have, the more of a thriving ecosystem that you have. Everything comes together nicely when you have a very high customer lifetime value. So on this episode, I'm going to dig into this metric. I'm going to explain exactly what it is, how to measure it, and the 3 strategies that you can use to actually increase your customer lifetime value. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, author of the book, How to Punch the Sunday Jitters in the Face, entrepreneur, startup founder, and angel investor. On this channel, I help startup founders like you create and execute on an unstoppable strategy for your life and your business. I drop an episode like this every single Sunday with the TK energy, so be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon if you're new, and that way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. And by the way, welcome to the Unstoppable community. If you are new, so happy to have you on. For those of you that are returning, I don't know about you, but this community is really starting to come alive. So I'm having so much fun doing these videos. I appreciate all the comments, all the likes, all the emails, all the tweets. So keep them coming. And I really want to also shout out to you. I know you already subscribed, but thank you for being part of this little movement here. Whenever I get pulled in to diagnose a SaaS business, whether it's doing well and they want to accelerate it faster, or they're kind of stuck and they're not sure whether they can raise that next round, they really need to figure out how to accelerate growth, I always go to my trusty flywheel, my SaaS business flywheel, my unstoppable flywheel, because when I map out any SaaS business onto this flywheel, where I clarify what their ICP is, and I start to track how they actually are moving through these 5 important metrics, I'm able to diagnose any SaaS business and start to understand 3 great growth strategies that we can implement to accelerate that growth or to actually get them out of trouble. On this episode, I actually walk through what these 5 metrics are, how this flywheel works, why it's important. So I'll link to it below so you can check it out. On this episode, I went into how to actually craft your ideal customer profile, which is at the heart of this flywheel. I'll also link to that below. And then on my last episode, I dug into, which is this one, and again, I'll link to it. You don't have to watch it now, you can watch it after this. I explained how you can have these 5 metrics, which are what I would say leading indicators. But the 2 metrics that investors care about the most, which are the lagging indicators, is your customer acquisition cost and your customer lifetime value. Now, on the last episode, I actually walked through what a customer acquisition cost is, how to measure it, and the 3 strategies you can use to reduce it. So I'll link to that video after this so that you can check it out. And on this episode, I'm going to dig into your customer lifetime value. Because quite honestly, out of all these metrics, and yeah, you're going to use these metrics to kind of navigate your path to product market fit, but when it comes to a truly successful SaaS business, your customer lifetime value is pretty much the only thing that matters. So if you're excited to dig in and you're excited to get started on this, go ahead and smash that like button and let's dig right into it. So first of all, you might be wondering, all right, TK, customer lifetime value, what is it? Now, the simplest way to think about it is, on average, how much is your average customer actually spending with you? There are a couple of components that go into this, right? The first component that goes into this is the ACV. The ACV is what the average contract value is for every customer you're bringing on. If every deal of yours is a 20 to 100K deal, that's your ACV, and that's going to impact how much each customer is going to bring you, what your average lifetime value is. The second component that comes in is churn. If your customer sticks around after the first year, let's just say you're doing 1-year billing. If you're not doing 1-year billing yet, start, because it makes a big difference. If you're doing 1-year billing, and if your churn is high, they leave after the first year, then your customer lifetime value is pretty much going to be 1x your average contract value. But if on an average your customers are actually sticking around and actually staying with you for multiple years, then you're going to be 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, or whatever it may be of your average contract value. So you can start to see how these 2 start to multiply to yield what your average customer value, lifetime value is going to be. Now there's a third component to this, which is actually one of the powerful components. It's called net retention. And net retention is one of the other metrics that feed into impacting this customer lifetime value, which is why I like customer lifetime value so much. It's a compound metric that really encapsulates these important aspects of a SaaS business. Your net retention means out of the customers you're keeping, like forget the ones that churn, are they actually paying you more? Net retention rate, when it's greater than 100%, when it's like 130%, 160%, is what some of the best SaaS businesses have. They have this because every year there are a subset of customers that are staying, but in subsequent years they're paying more and more and more. So when net retention rate goes up, when churn goes down, when your ACV goes up, all these three metrics come into this one compound metric of customer lifetime value. And when you can optimize for that customer lifetime value and measure it, you know you've got a very successful SaaS business. And when you're optimized for this, it means that you can go raise more money to put more into sales and marketing to go start scaling it faster and faster and faster. Now, it sounds great and it's awesome, but what if your customer lifetime value is not that great? What if you're in the early days and you don't quite know if you have enough data points to really understand your customer lifetime value? Let's just say you're on year one of a SaaS business. What do you do then? So there's two things to this. I'm going to dig into this. I'm going to go through the three strategies that you can use to actually increase your customer lifetime value. Before I do that, those strategies are going to really come in handy if you are on a SaaS business that has revenues. Maybe you're post 1 million ARR, you're on year 2 of the business, and you're like, all right, how do I really crank this? If you're in the early days, you really don't know how much of them are going to renew. You really don't know what people are going to do and whether you even have product market fit. So the one thing I'll tell you is if you're just starting out, don't worry as much about CAC and LTV. I want you to watch this video because I want you to know what to do after you get to that product market fit, but you don't have to over-index on these two metrics yet. What you should be hyper-focused on is this flywheel. This flywheel, acquisition, activation, revenue, retention, referral, that's what you need to be focused on in those early days. As you get into later days, let's just say you're in year 2, year 3, year 4 of the business, or you're on year 5 and the business is stalling, you should still look at these. You should look at your ICP, but you really want to look at optimizing your CAC and LTV. Now that you know what CLTV is, you know exactly how to think about it, all the components that go into it, you're like, all right, cool, I'm in. How do I improve it? How do I actually increase my customer lifetime value? Glad you asked. Now, if you actually want to increase your customer lifetime value, the first thing I want you to focus on is how do you actually teach your customers more? How do you actually educate them on how to use the product, the big movement you're creating around your software and your product, how to educate them on how to think about that macro trend, and how to educate them on how to actually use the product more effectively. In the early days of Tauda, we didn't have salespeople. We didn't have support people. All we had were happiness officers. And these happiness officers, their one sole goal was to ensure that they kept teaching our early customers on why they need the product and how to use it and how to get success from it. Now these days, in a more mature SaaS company, you will have salespeople, you'll have SDRs, you'll have CSMs, and you'll have all those people dividing up those duties. But as CEO, at the culture level, at the top level, you have to start thinking about how every single one of those functions is going to start to think about teaching how to use your product and get success from your product instead of just selling. If you can out-teach the competition, you're going to rise above everyone else and you're going to drive so much more loyalty, which will actually not only drive activation into your product, which is super important, but it'll actually start to impact churn, it'll start to impact net retention, and people will even start paying you more because you'll become a brand that is a teaching brand. So my strategy number one, if you want to actually increase your customer lifetime value, is to start thinking about teaching. Now, when we were at Marketo, we made huge investments into what's called Marketo University. We made huge investments into actually highlighting the people that were successful Marketo practitioners and sharing the best practice that they were using. Even at Tauda, we had Tauda University, we had Sales University, we had sales templates. All these things came together where we were teaching our customers to better use our product and get more value, which essentially helped us elevate our brand and actually accelerate our customers' path to success. So don't think of it as marketing, don't think about it as sales, think about it as teaching. And when you do that and you align the entire organization around it, you can actually impact your CLTV number. The second strategy is to actually start measuring NPS. Now, there's a whole lot of body of knowledge on how to actually run an NPS survey. There can be an easy one, there can be a very complicated one. You can get a complicated platform like Qualtrics, or you can do a simple Google Forms with one question on, hey, would you recommend this product to a friend? I don't want you to get overwhelmed around this. All I need you to do is start tracking your NPS score and start measuring how you're doing and whether you're getting better and better and better quarter after quarter after quarter. Because guess what? If a customer is unhappy, they may write in some support tickets. They may not renew. But by the time they've done that, it's already too late. What you want to do is start measuring NPS, and you want to start measuring the user sentiment early on, so you can start to understand if all the things you're doing is actually making things better and better and better. If you have a strong NPS, everything else becomes easier. Your customers become more loyal, they're willing to pay more, and all those things, and they won't leave, all those things will add into improving this customer lifetime value metric. When I was doing this video, honestly, I had a little bit of an aha moment. I always knew that this customer lifetime value metric is important, investors care about it, I cared about it as CEO, but when I started to actually take a step back and really distill down all the components that go into optimizing for your lifetime value, I was like, oh my God, this really is one of the most important metrics in any SaaS business. At the end of the day, the magic of a SaaS business is it's subscription-based. People can get into it easy. But the hard part is you have to keep earning that business every single month or every single year. The magic of it is you keep getting that repeatable revenue, but only if you have a great product and a great experience. This is why the lifetime value is so important. When you start to actually optimize on this, your business just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. If you're starting to get this, if you're starting to get excited about how to track this, get your NPS going, actually start taking a more teaching methodology so you can drive that loyalty, so you can drive that customer value, and the lifetime value goes up. If you're starting to see this, let me just get a yes in the comments below so that I hear from you. And also, link me to your SaaS business that you're working on, that way I can check you out. And I'd love to engage more in the SaaS business that you're building out as well. Before you go, there's this third one, right? I promised you 3 strategies. This is my favorite one. Now, the whole point of this is you want to reduce churn. You want to make sure you have a great average contract value. You want to actually make sure you're charging a profitable price for your software. And I'm going to do a separate video just on pricing because there's so much to that. But the last strategy has more to do with impacting your net retention. The most successful SaaS business, if you look at Slack, you look at Zoom, you look at any number of them really, one of the things that they really have nailed is that over time, not only do a certain cohort of customers, an overwhelming number, stay, that's the retention piece, the churn goes down, but as they use the product more and as they get more success, the price that they pay every year or every month goes up. What that means is even though a certain number of people might churn out, the people that stay, because they're getting so much success, they end up paying more. What you want to make sure that you have is you have a pricing model that actually increases as the customers get more success. So for ToutApp, it was easy. We just charged by the seat. And the more successful they were with their platform, they wanted all of the salespeople on it. And the more successful they were using our platform in their sales, they actually hired more salespeople. And so every year we just made more money out of them, but they were perfectly fine. Our customers were fine because they were getting value from the platform. And so in Marketo, it was very similar. We didn't charge by the seat, but we charged based on the number of contacts or the database size. And that way, every marketer, the more successful they were, they had more contacts in their database, and the more they paid for Marketo, but they were happy to do it because they were getting success from the platform. So you can start to see how this ties together. Number one, we really taught them on how to use the product and actually get the result they were looking for using our product. We taught them how to be successful. We didn't just market to them, we didn't just sell to them, we actually created resources that helped them activate more successfully. The second thing that we did is we kept measuring the NPS score. We kept measuring the NPS score to understand how we're doing. As a startup founder, you have 2 levers. You're either shipping code or you're closing deals. Ship code, close deals. That's all that matters. But when you distill it down, if you can ship code and close deals, and you can measure whether that's working or not, you can ship a bunch of code, but if your NPS score doesn't go up, if the deals don't go up, then it doesn't matter, right? So when you actually measure the NPS, we were able to say, all right, how do we actually, is our teaching working? Is our product working? What do we need to improve on? We were able to diagnose it. And then lastly, we baked success into the pricing model. We made it where the more successful they were using our product, we set a unit metric that where the more successful they are, the more they would be paying us over time. And that made it where over time, our customer lifetime value went up across 3 different spectrums. Number 1, churn actually reduced, so more people stayed. Number 2, as more people stayed, we made sure that as they were more successful, they had to pay more because that's how the pricing model worked. And number 3, this is a pro tip here, we also made sure that we focused our efforts on the segment of the market that was most successful, where we got the most ACV. So we also tried to increase ACV. When we did all 3 of those things, we had better customers, well-educated customers, successful customers that were paying us more and staying longer. And because of all of that, our customer lifetime value skyrocketed. And this I've seen in every single SaaS business. It isn't easy to do. It's a pretty simple framework. It isn't easy to do though, because you really got to dig in and start to understand what are the levers that really move this and strategically put in the programs that helps drive it forward. So at least now you know why this customer lifetime value is so important, what are the key components that go into it, and my 3 strategies that are going to help you actually increase your customer lifetime value. Something magical happens when you actually increase your customer lifetime value. Because your customer lifetime value is so high, you can actually spend a lot more on acquiring customers. And when you can spend a lot more on acquiring customers, it means you can put more money into events, dinners, brand, marketing, ads, all of it. And you can put more money into R&D. All these things become easier to do because the value of a customer is going to be so much higher. And guess what? When you can do that, your ability to raise money or drive to profitability also becomes easier. This is why I truly believe your customer lifetime value, this metric, is one of the, if not the most important metric to understand, measure, and have a strategy around in your SaaS business. So now you know everything you need to know almost about customer lifetime value, but this is just one of the strategies I talk about when it comes to growing SaaS businesses. Whether you're just starting out trying to get to product market fit, or you're a SaaS business already generating revenues, but you're worried about growth. If you really want to dig into this more, I created this unstoppable guide to product market fit. In this guide, I give you the 3 things you absolutely need to nail in terms of creating this growth strategy and executing on it. So it's completely free. You can follow the link below, and it'll give you everything that I have in terms of a framework to adopt to drive growth for your SaaS business. Since you're here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon, because on the next episode, I'm going to be digging more into what you can do once you actually have CAC and LTV under control, and when you have these SaaS metrics all mapped out. I'm going to start to give you some of my playbook secrets on how I would drive growth for your SaaS business once I diagnosed it. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so that you get notified when I drop that episode next Sunday. Also, if you enjoyed this video, it would mean the world to me if you hit that like button. Just smash it. It means the world to me, it means the world to my team. It tells us that we're creating value for you. And if you're part of a Slack group or a group of startup founders on an email list or whatever collaboration channel you're on, it would mean the world if you also share this video, because we want every SaaS founder to be thinking about their customer lifetime value, customer acquisition cost, and this core flywheel for their business. And remember, most importantly, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. But when you are with us, yours, it's going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I will see you next Sunday.